and rifling one into the top corner. It was a move that was started by a sublime ball from that man, James Maddison. Leicester dominated the first half. Everton had more of the second, but they just could not get past a Leicester defence that just seemed unbeatable at the minute as they chalk up another clean sheet. Dominic Calvert-Lewin did have a one-on-one that was saved by the legs of Danny Ward, but Leicester always looking dangerous on the break. James Maddison hit the post, and then with 4 minutes of normal time remaining, a Leicester break turning to a goal. Barnes started it, Maddison giving the ball back to Barnes, a turn and shot left-footed inside the penalty area, sealing his 5th goal of the season, 3 in his last 4 in the Premier League, and Barnes nearly made it a brace in injury time, racing down the left-hand side, but he saw his effort saved by Jordan Pickford, but it still didn't dampen Leicester, who win this one here at Goodison Park. And Jerry, watching on this evening, another great day on the road, and another victory, another clean sheet. Great resurgence at the minute from Leicester. What have you made of what you've seen this evening?
Yeah, it's a great result, isn't it? It's a 6-point game. Pressure on both teams, to be honest, in this game. But Leicester, you have to say, were a better team all of it. At times, still not convinced, giving the ball away in really bad areas of the pitch. Thankfully, Everton had a couple of opportunities, didn't take them. So that's the first point. But other than that, I mean, some of the play tonight was sensational. The goals were sensational. One of them, without a shadow of a doubt, world class. And yet, 4, 5, 6, 7 players playing at the top of the game this evening, and it was a joy to watch.
4 or 5 players at the top of their game, but you've got to pick one as your Leicester man of the match this evening.
I'm struggling. I really am. First of all, Faes again, and Dan Amati at the back. Faes looks an absolute giant. He really does. Really impressed with him. Keenan Dewsbury Hall, good game tonight. Got dragged at half time in the last game, but came back tonight. Quality first half. Patson Daka, worked the socks off. Again, I'm liking the look of him. And then you're down to both the goal scorers. And James Maddison. Come on.
I don't envy you tonight, Tex.
Help me out. Yeah. Someone help me out. Give me.
Can we get the judge on the line? Can we pick more than one?
I tell you what. I'm going to give it to Maddison. You know what? Because he was unplayable. He was unplayable tonight. And as good as Tielemans' goal was, and as good as Barnes was tonight in general as well, I just thought Maddison was head and shoulders the best player on the football pitch, and he showed it. So I'm going to give it to James Maddison.
Tough choice, but possibly the right man. He's oozing confidence.
Controversially.
We'll wait for the Elliott opinion on that one.
I know what Tony Cotty's going to say.
The Leicester players, coaching staff, everyone involved have gone across that far side, saluted the Blue Army on the end of another victory. So much to come from Jerry, from Matt, from TC, and of course from Dan Bates. Full time here at Goodison Park as we hand back to the studio. Everton 0, Leicester 2.
Thanks, John. Don't worry, Jerry, there's agreement in the studio here. James Maddison gets Matt Elliott's man of the match.
He got there eventually, didn't he? Hey, Tags, you got there eventually, the right decision.
When you score a goal like that from Tielemans, I mean, what can you say about that goal?
Yeah.
But Maddison, unplayable tonight.
Well, you said tough decision, but Maddison's head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, but it's that goal of Tielemans, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That's worth man of the match on its own.
Let's see if we've got 3 out of 3. Tony Cotty, are you going to agree with Matt and Jerry? Are you going to go left field and pick somebody else?
Oh, do you know what, Dan? I was listening to Tags there, and he quite rightly reeled off 6 or 7 players, and I'm thinking, Tags, there is only one man of the match. For me, he was head and shoulders above everyone on that football pitch. If he's not in the England squad, it's an absolute joke for the World Cup. Absolute joke. He was brilliant tonight. Yes, there was other great performances. A wonderful, wonderful goal that we're going to talk about, no doubt. But for me, Maddison was incredible tonight.
Yeah, I mean, technically, he obviously gets the assist for both, Tony, doesn't he? The first one was all about Youri Tielemans, but it's still a James Maddison assist. If he'd have got a third assist, which he very nearly did for Harvey Barnes at the end, having nutmegged Garner in midfield, driven forward, that would have capped off his performance, certainly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and not just that, the one that hit the post as well, Danny could have easily got on the score sheet. Again, brilliant skill. It's just playing with utmost confidence at the moment. It's a great feeling as a footballer. When you're confident, you feel like you can take on the world, whatever position you play in, whether it doesn't even matter if you're a goalkeeper or a centre forward, defender, it doesn't matter. If you've got confidence, you feel like you can take on the world and do whatever you want. And you could see that in James Maddison tonight. Every time he got the ball, he was on the half turn. He did one bit of skill that I haven't seen done probably since Glenn Hoddle and Trevor Brooking, and that's showing my age, Dan. We're going back to the 70s and the 80s. The ball was played into James, and he beat the defender without touching the ball. And it's an incredible bit of skill to do, to just pull your leg out the way and beat the defender. And it was an amazing bit of skill. Not just that, there was 3, 4, 5 other bits of skill, the nutmegs, etc. As I say, Tags got there in the end, but he was absolutely brilliant tonight, James Maddison.
Yeah, Jerry, do you feel a little bit better about yourself now that everyone is in complete agreement with you?
I've always put myself under pressure, you know that. And
you can blame John. John didn't help you, did he? He was egging up that it was a tough decision.
I mean, so you know, you're talking an absolute world-class goal from Tielemans. Yeah, so you could have given him man of the match for that, but because Maddison was that good, you know, you have to give him it. You know, the lad's all right, but you know, a little bit of self-doubt sort of crept in there for once because there was so many good performances and, you know, a couple of great goals. But yeah, so I did get there in the end. It was never in any doubt, only slightly, I suppose. But yeah, he was incredible. It was a joy to watch at times. Well, James Maddison was a joy to watch.
In general terms, Matt, I'm just looking at the table. As we spoke about at half-time, if Leicester won by 2, that will put them 13th. So they're currently 13th. Obviously, there's a few more games to play tomorrow, including West Ham, who Leicester have overtaken, including Everton. Well, not including Everton. Obviously, Leicester have overtaken them this evening. But only 4 teams in the league have scored more than Leicester. They've scored the same amount as Liverpool, who scored 9 in one game. So that proves that going forward that there hasn't been an issue. And certainly defensively, we spoke about it before the game, didn't we, about how everything was looking more sturdy, more solid. Clean sheets were vital. Another one tonight. Danny Ward, immense again. Wout Faes, immense again.
Yeah, a lot of good signs, aren't there? I mean, it's so condensed, isn't it? From the bottom right up to sort of, I think, 7th or 8th, you know, is attainable, you know, reachable in the near future.
5 points from 8th.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, you know, you can redeem that within the space of 3 games. Okay, it needs things to go in your favour, etc. But yeah, quite conceivably, Leicester could remain in that 13th position, I think, tomorrow. You know, with the fixtures as they are, the lower teams have got difficult games. But you know, it's over the duration, isn't it? And listen, Leicester are not out of the mire just yet. Anyway, you know, there's a lot of work to do. Of course, there is. But for me, even we've said it from the start. Leicester have got too many good players, and I know people say, "Oh, he's never too good a team not to go down," but you know they have got that quality, and it's around the pitch as well. It's spread about. It's not totally reliant on 1 or even 2 particular players, even though Maddison is at the moment a standout figure, has been for a while. But yeah, there wasn't a million things wrong with Leicester's play, but just little adjustments. Interesting that Harvey Barnes said before the game, things have changed, we've shored up a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why, were his words, or what it is that's made the difference. But I mean, for me, the outstanding difference is Wout Faes, but it's not just him alone. He's brought that security to the whole defensive unit, but also they've tweaked it a little bit. I think there's been a big emphasis on trying to be more aware of where you are, even when Leicester are in possession, where they are defensively. The Sumare, you know, to be more aware, expect the ball to be turned over, see the danger before it happens. And I think people are more switched on in that respect, and picking and choosing. I think they still lose it a little bit too much in dangerous areas.
Jerry said that, didn't
he?
Yeah,
yeah, without a doubt. They're a little bit loose at times. Everton, hugely guilty of that as well. But, you know, you're not expecting a perfect scenario after where Leicester have been, but there are some really, really good signs. I mean, Leicester were quite considerably the better team. Okay, possession levels were pretty even, but Leicester had the better opportunities, the better control and mastery of the game, of the ball, the game in general, and just looked the more competent outfit, didn't they, without a doubt. And as Everton players, you could see in their body language almost acknowledging that, even before the second goal. Yeah. It would have been a travesty, really, if Leicester had let anything slip there. But, nothing's done until you've got that security of that 2-goal advantage. So, some very good performances. James Maddison was beyond very good, wasn't he? He was outstanding, he was excellent. But just good solidity about the whole team. Good, steady 7.5 out of 10 throughout. That gets you places when you've got the quality, especially at Leicester, possess.
Quite simply, Tony, that's how an away game in the Premier League is won, isn't it? Being solid like that. OK, they gifted Everton a couple of chances, but they were fairly solid throughout. They were clinical when they needed to be clinical. It was a brilliant away performance. That's 2 in a row now. Wolves away, Everton away, 2 fantastic wins.
Yeah, I think Brendan will do well to pick too many faults with that performance. I think someone who probably deserves a mention is Danny Ward. No one's mentioned him yet, but that was a vital save. And as I said, Iwobi has to score that goal in the first 5 minutes. If he scores that, it is a completely different game. Same at the start of the second half. You always knew that Everton at some stage were going to create a chance. Fell to Calvert-Lewin, and Danny Ward got out really, really quickly, made himself nice and big, and it was a really, really important save. And he's been playing excellent, by the way, Danny Ward, the last sort of few weeks. He's really sort of seemed to have grown in stature and confidence as well, what I was just talking about. And the back four, I mean, the 2 centre-halves, particularly Faes, I mean, he's been brilliant since he got into the team. And Dan Amartey as well, who's not obviously a centre-half, but he's playing there at the moment. And the two of them look like they've got a really good understanding. And it just makes such a difference. If you can build from that platform, all right, you ride your luck with a couple of their chances they could have scored. But if you can build from the back, like we were saying before the game, you keep those clean sheets, and you know that Leicester have got the talent. If you looked at Leicester going forward compared to Everton going forward, Leicester are miles in front of Everton at the moment.
Jerry, I know obviously you love defending yourself, you love talking about defending. You must have been obviously tearing your hair out at times with what was happening earlier in the season. So to see what's happened, really, it's pretty much since October hit that they were really solid last month. They've continued it tonight. It was the same against Man City last weekend, barring that Kevin De Bruyne wonder goal. So it is so much better. It's so much easier to talk about, isn't it, when things are a lot more solid?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you hear all the cliches in football about, building from a solid base. All good teams have that solid base, and then you let your flair players, go and take all the plaudits, and that's the way it should be. You, as Matt said, you want to be a 7.5, and the odd 8. But as long as you're consistent at the back, then you're giving yourself and your team the best opportunity to go and win games of football. You can't win football games when you're chasing all the time. And at the minute, because Leicester are keeping it at zilch, zero, nada, nothing, then the lads at the top end of the pitch are taking advantage of that. And again, in a really tight game, TC just mentioned that chance for Dominic Calvert-Lewin that doesn't go in the back of the net. And then on the flip side, the Curry gives away a simple pass. Leicester pick it up and go and punish him on the counter-attack. And that is the difference between what you've seen tonight for Leicester and Everton. Everton couldn't convert the chances that they were gifted by Leicester, and Leicester did. And that takes you places by keeping that solid base. And that's what Leicester have now. And Faes is, he's the focal point, the centre of all the good things. He's got leadership qualities, whether he knows it or not, in the way he plays football, in the way he defends.
Yeah,
you look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he did not want to get involved with Wout Faes this evening. I thought this will be intriguing. Both players like to go up in the air for it. Both of them, pretty strong. Faes just brushed him aside. Incredible performance by him, and he's got leader qualities, whether he knows it or not. He leads by example, and I think the rest of the defenders in particular, and not only the defenders but the rest of the team react off that, a bit like they reacted off Jamie Vardy when he used to come off the bench and the whole place got a lift. Wout Faes has that sort of impression on the rest of the players on the pitch.
Yeah, he's captained Belgium at pretty much every youth level, and I think Brendan Rodgers himself in the summer when Leicester signed Wout Faes underlined that leadership, Jerry, and said that that's what they needed at the back, and that is what they've brought in Wout Faes. And there was one moment in the second half where I think he blocked it on the Everton left-hand side. It went out, and he fully celebrated it like he'd scored himself.
Yeah, it was a vital block, as you said, down the left-hand side, and it just shows you what it means to him. You know, to put a good ball away for a corner, because he knew it was a vital moment in the game, and he was making sure that Everton found no way through, and that's the difference between, you know, being a leader on a pitch, being a defender. And so what he does, he breeds that confidence. The other players look at him, they see what he's doing, and they go, right, I need to do a bit of that. And as I said, I didn't know he was a captain of Belgium, but the way he plays, he just leads by example. It's a joy to see somebody who actually loves tackling, heading the ball, and getting into duels, getting physical with other players.
And what's that done to those other players? Jerry was touching upon it there a little bit, Matt, but how much can they take from seeing Wout Faes in there and the way that he plays and that leadership that clearly he's showing?
Yeah, I think Jerry's spot on there. Just not even necessarily vocally. I'm sure he is a good talker. I know he speaks good English anyway. But yeah, he seemed a good fit even before he stepped out on the pitch. I had the pleasure of meeting him indirectly beforehand, and he was champing at the bit to get out there, because there was a little bit of delay by the time he'd signed and he's getting his opportunity. Okay, it didn't go to plan, but you know, he did reasonably well in his debut despite the scoreline. But you could see he was eager, and the time was right. The scene was set for him almost to come in. Leicester needed someone who could make that difference, and he seemed to accept that challenge, really, you know, without probably knowing the full extent of what laid ahead or what he was getting into, because you know, it become a bit of a dire situation, hadn't it? And yeah, he walked through the door, but it didn't seem too, not imposing for him, but he imposed himself, and you know, too intimidating for him to come into that scenario. He relished the opportunity, and he rolled his sleeves up and said, right, okay, I'm coming here, I'm the man, I'm going to come and help the situation out, help Leicester City as a club, and turn that negativity around. He hasn't done it alone, of course he hasn't, but players take inspiration from how he's come into the team as well. But, and you know, I think they'll be really impressed with how he's coming, and then think upon themselves off that, like Jerry says there. They, hang on a sec, this is a new boy who's coming in, stepping in, and showing this sort of confidence and this belief in himself and in believing the cause. And to the other players, they get a bit of a reminder, and it ups their game as well. They need to rise to that challenge and, you know, compete on the same way. And it's had a knock-on effect. I think there have been little tactical switches as well in terms of the full-backs, you know, just sitting that little bit more. I think you saw it tonight. You didn't see Castagna and Justin going forward too often, did you? Like they can do. You know, they like to do naturally. They're both athletic, attack-minded full-backs. Less of that this evening. Leicester weren't getting caught on the turnover. But, you know, when that did happen, they had numbers back defensively. Previously, they've been exposed. That's been a problem. So I think there's a little tweak there. The set pieces, again, you're relatively secure now. You feel secure watching them, don't you? Don't know what the difference is. Brendan Rodgers says we needed to address the physicality and the aggression, but you know, that should be a given, really. You shouldn't need a coach to come in to do that, but there must be other adjustments there that you know, perhaps we won't go into or won't ever find out the details of, but that's been improved drastically. And in turn, everyone else's confidence got. Danny Ward, you know, looks the keeper that we thought he could be now, and he had a shaky time, but there are reasons why to it. You know, and fortune was going against Leicester, but now they're getting a rub of the green in certain situations. So, you know, lots of positives there, and then blended with that quality that Leicester have, without a doubt. You know, and we see that with 4 or 5 of top-class individuals they possess.
Jerry, your man of the match decision was agreed with by Matt and Tony and by the Leicester City fans as well. Obviously, you can't see the screen. You're still in the press box at Goodison Park. But for those of you watching, just take a look at the right-hand side of the screen there. That's where the vote is. You can have your say on Twitter at LCFC. But 59% of the Leicester fans that have voted Jerry have said James Maddison. He's quite comfortably the favourite in terms of getting that Man of the Match award from the supporters as well.
I thank you.
So you were right. That's everybody agreeing with you then, Jerry. So one.
Well, that's 40,
another quick word on him, because
41% of the people not.
Well, 33 have said Yuri Tielemans.
Well, there you go. You see, so I was right to have a little bit of a wobble.
You do get some strange percentages on this, to be fair, don't you? A couple of times, but just tell him to move on to the next question, Tags.
Yeah.
I was trying to give you some praise there, Jerry. That's all. The last time I do that.
Absolutely.
Tony's been sat at home watching all this, listening to Matt and Jerry speaking about defenders, probably tearing your hair out, thinking you want to talk about the forward players, about the goals in particular. Let's not talk about Yuri's yet. We've still got about just under 10 minutes left, so we've got plenty of time to talk about Yuri. So we can talk about the Harvey Barnes one. Great team goal that, wasn't it? Really good counter-attack. I think that the lads were saying on commentary that there were a number of those counter-attacks. One of them hopefully was going to pay off, and eventually it did.
Yeah, I mentioned at half-time that I felt that the game would play into Leicester's hands from the point of view that Everton were going to push forward. As I said, the quality wasn't there from Everton, but they was trying to push forward. They was trying to get the equalising goal. And in the end, I think it was Doucouré who gives the ball away to Yuri Tielemans. Nice little simple pass to Harvey Barnes. He's off and running. Defender comes over. He just pushes it in front. I think he might be trying to go after it himself, but James Maddison had run in advance to get the ball. And then he just drove on, got into the box, gets his head up. There's a lovely pass back to Harvey Barnes. And it's a difficult one because it's behind him. He's got to take a touch. He takes another touch. He takes another three touches before he strikes the ball. Yes, there was a slight deflection on the shot, but there was so much pace and power, and it's gone in exactly where Harvey would have been looking to put it in there. We spoke about it, me and Matt, before the game. We know Harvey Barnes has got that quality. It's there. He's got some fantastic goals over the last 2-3 seasons. And, again, a player he's probably not even in his prime yet. He's 24, coming up 25, I think. And, when you get to, I think you get 27, 28, you get in the prime of your career. So, there's still more to come, as we said earlier, from Harvey Barnes. But it was a great finish. It was a wonderful counter-attacking goal. Everything that I expected at half-time, with the precision of the pass, the running with the football, and the pass, and then, of course, the finish at the end, which was a fantastic finish.
Which, again, like you said, we were speaking before the game about Harvey Barnes, saying that he gets in those positions so many times, doesn't he, Tony? Yeah. Can he be ruthless? And today, as you said, yes, it took a deflection, but he was ruthless. Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was a good finish, and it's just that consistency. And I think, again, when you're a wide player, I think it's hard for wide players to be consistent, because you often have games where you'd be a left side player like Harvey is, and the ball, for whatever reason, keeps going down the right hand side. And there's nothing you could do about it. And then, of course, when the ball does come out to you, you're feeling, I'm a little bit cold now. I ain't touched the ball for 10 minutes or whatever it might be. And I do think it's, throughout the years that I've been involved in football, I've always felt with wide players, and I've played with and against many, many fantastic wide players, but it's so hard for them to be consistent for the reasons I've just given. And sometimes, they start wandering around a little bit. But when Harvey gets the ball, he's got something different. And again, I was talking about James Maddison being in the England squad. Harvey surely has to be in the thoughts of the England manager, because he gives you something different. He's great with running with the ball. He is a good finisher. We've seen all sorts of different finishes from him. So he's getting there. He's not in his prime yet, and this might be a World Cup too soon for him. But I think he must be in Gareth Southgate's thinking at the moment. One man that you think is absolutely going to the World Cup, Tony, is Yuri Tielemans. That goal, again, is right up there. It seems like every goal he scores, you think that's the best of his Leicester career. They just keep getting better and better, don't they? They do, yeah. It's always like a goal of the season, or it's a goal of the month. Goal of the month every time he gets a goal. And that one tonight is, I know the boys in commentary were drooling about it.
it's potentially got a chance of being up there for a goal of the season contender. You've got to win the goal of the month first, obviously, on the TV. But it was a wonderful strike, and what I like about it, and I think Matt touched on it earlier when he was describing the way Yuri strikes the ball. I think he compared it to like a golfer, and I think if you watch any top sport, whether it's a golfer, a snooker player, a tennis player, even a rugby where they do the conversion and everything, it's not smashed as hard as you can. You don't see someone trying to absolutely kill the ball and hit it as hard as possible. It's about technique. And if you've got the technique that Yuri's got, then you just got to let the ball do the work. And let's make one thing absolutely clear, by the way, the technique's there because of how much he practices. You know, you don't just get that through just being a natural. Yes, you've got natural ability, but I bet you any money he practices, particularly outside the box, as I've described with his role. He's just sitting maybe a little bit deeper than what he has done in previous seasons, but it works for him. But when he gets the ball, invariably, he's going to be 20, 25 yards out. So I bet he practices his socks up with those ones, just trying to get all different sorts of technique. When he hit it, it was lovely the way he just got it off his thigh, set the ball up, got it in the right position, got it so that he got the dip. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew as soon as he hit it, and we see it when the clip behind him, the camera, when it's behind him, you see he's starting to run to celebrate before it's even hit the back of the net. Truly, truly phenomenal goal, again, from Youri Tielemans.
Jerry, you've been blessed, actually. I was just thinking off the top of my head, some of the goals that you've seen. You and I saw Harvey Barnes score a cracker at Bramall Lane maybe 3 or 4 years ago. You saw James Maddison's fantastic strike at the Etihad. Where does that one from Youri this evening rank alongside those and alongside some of the best that you've ever seen?
Well, it goes without saying, doesn't it? It's right up there. And, you know, you talk about consistency in football, and he is consistently producing unreal strikes at goal, and, you know, predominantly the ball's ending up in the back of the net. It's just an incredible run of form he's in with these strikes from the edge of the box. And yeah, I was off my seat. And you know, we were.
And that's tough at Goodison Park.
Yeah, and that is very, very tough. And we were talking before that I hadn't had a punch hit from one of the Everton fans who were literally right behind me. I was hoping and praying it didn't come, and thankfully that punch didn't come. But I mean, it was a massive moment in the game, and to be here live to see it, just incredible. You know, incredible strike yet again. You know, he's had 3 incredible strikes in 3 games. 2 of them have ended up in the back of the net. The third got tipped onto the crossbars, we all know. But I mean, and TC's right. As soon as he controls that ball, he knows where that ball's going. He knows he's putting it in that left-hand corner of the net as he looks at it. And to pull it off is, well, to think you're putting it there is one thing. To pull it off, and to pull it off with such consistency, those types of strikes. And Tony is better versed and better qualified than I am to speak about how difficult it is to be able to master that skill. It's just an incredible talent that he has.
It was special, Matt, wasn't it?
Yeah, hell of a strike, isn't it? I mean, we're talking about it for a little while yet, I imagine. Such was the quality. Aquino mentioned it there, and Tony did about, you know, just like the sort of fluency of the strike, wasn't it? It was effortless. He won't be pulling any hamstrings when he scores and shoots like that. Most people put themselves in danger because it's a big effort and you're straining and you're struggling and you're putting all your power into it. Tielemans doesn't do that, does he? He just glides through the ball effortlessly, directs it towards goal, where it travels with force and more often than not accuracy as well. He had a decent strike as well about 10 minutes before that, I think, with his left foot that fizzed towards goal, but it got blocked in the sea of bodies. But yeah, he consistently provides that quality. But I mean, just going back to Tony's point about Maddison as well, as good a player as Tielemans is and the things that he's capable of, I don't think he's actually been performing his all-round game has been as influential as maybe times gone by. But Maddison is. Tielemans is guaranteed a place in the Belgian squad, isn't he? And probably in the starting lineup, possibly he might get a might get the nod, and then Maddison can't get in England's squad at all, always struggling. It's bizarre how it works, isn't it? But regardless of what happens with Maddison, just keep going. Like, you know, you get your positives in different ways, don't you? Of course, he'd love to travel to the World Cup with England, but if he doesn't, he's doing a mighty fine job. He should be proud of himself for Leicester. Yeah,
Leicester fans can certainly enjoy him, even if England fans can't. Big thanks to Jerry Taggart, who made the trip, of course, across to Everton this evening. Safe travels back. Thanks to Tony Cottage for joining us via Zoom. You and Matt will be with us on Extra Time on Monday evening. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about that. You're looking at me.
What are you saying, you and what, Tony?
Tony, yes, Tony and Matt, and Ewan Roberts, of course,
and Ewan,
and me on Monday evening for Extra Time. We'll be talking a lot more about that Yuri Tielemans strike, as well as another fantastic 3 points for Leicester City, where there were fireworks on bonfire night.